Here is your moment of calm. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Hey, I'm Jay, and I want to invite you to spend the next 90 seconds right here in the present moment. Start by getting a little more comfortable wherever you are. Maybe relaxing your shoulders and settling in to stillness. Now, connect with your breath as it flows in through your nose and releases back out. Breathing in, feeling your body expand. Breathing out, feeling it fall. Inhaling, drawing in energy, and exhaling, landing fully in this moment. And now, let's set an intention for how you want to approach the day. How would you like to show up? What energy do you want to bring? Come back to this intention whenever you need a boost. Wishing you peace and purpose and a beautiful day.
For our next session, please welcome from Calm, the Chief Purpose Officer, Jay Shetty, and CEO, David Coe, in a conversation with veteran journalist and author, Brooke Baldwin.
Emma.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. David and Jay, this is so fun. We were watching that video backstage and I was already just like feeling so much more dropped in, way to start the day. I love the video. I could just listen to your voice for forever. You know, when we talk about, energy and intention and mindfulness, Jay Shetty, what are the effects of having a mindful practice, and why is it so important just to set an intention?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm so grateful to be here, and it's wonderful to meet you all. And I think the best thing to do is check in with you and ask you how many people felt maybe a little bit slower because of that meditation this morning. Anyone felt a bit more clarity? That's beautiful. That's great to see. I love that. I wanted to start off by sharing a story. When I lived as a monk for 3 years, on my first day of monk school, I saw a 11-year-old monk teaching 5-year-old monks. It was truly a sight to see. And I went and asked the 11-year-old monk what he was teaching these 5-year-old monks. And he said, well, that was their first day of school. What did you learn on your first day of school? And I was like, maybe like ABCs or 1, 2, 3 or something like that. And he said, well, we teach them how to breathe. And I was like, what do you mean teach them how to breathe? And he said, well, the only thing that stays with you from the moment you're born to the moment you die is your breath. And he said, what changes when you feel happy? Your breath.
Yes.
What changes when you feel sad? Your breath. What changes when you feel angry? Your breath. And he said, if you learn to navigate your breath, you can navigate any situation in your life. This was an 11-year-old teaching me this.
Amazing.
On my first day. It was unbelievable. And what he was really teaching me was this mind-body connection. The idea that how we feel in our mind can impact our body, and how our body feels can impact our mind. And at Calm, we're really trying to make that connection obvious, accessible, and hopefully today, simply by those few moments, you feel that mind-body connection and alignment.
After listening to that story, and David, I want to come to you. I'm curious, just by a show of hands, how many of you meditate, or maybe the word meditate feels too heavy? Just breathe in the morning. Yes, okay,
That's
a lot
beautiful.
of hands. I feel like that's become my new superpower, having been, on the wheel of TV news for 20 years. And David, for you, when we talk about whole health, is that what you think of, the mind-body connection? What is it that comes to mind for you?
Yeah, no, thank you for asking that question, Brooke, and thank you for being here as well today, and Jay. I loved actually the start of that meditation. I think one thing it just showed us is how simple things can be, as Jay mentioned. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes. It can be 3 minutes. It can be 7 minutes. It can be 30 seconds to just help center yourself. And I think that's one of the primary reasons today on Calm. Jay has over 800,000 members that come and use Calm today on his Daily J. So if you haven't checked it out, come go check out the Daily J. Yeah. And I just love how it's so intertwined when people talk about your physical and your mental health.
Yes.
And this is a point where we're really excited about having the dialogue around this. And thank you for having the dialogue today.
If we know it's then more beneficial to treat the mind as we treat the body, why don't we do that?
Yeah, it's it is a great question. It's a complicated question for most of you out there today. It's really because the system is not set up that way. We've often come into it saying we would treat mental health one way and we would treat physical health another way. But the fact of the matter is, there's just not enough professionals and mental health resources that are out there today to treat all the people that are raising their hands and saying, I need help. And there are just so many examples of that are out there in the world right now. And so when you go just look at some of the stats, there's over 123 million Americans who have no access to mental health resources that are out there today. If you look at the 3,000 counties in the United States, 60% of them don't have a psychiatrist. And 2/3 of all primary care physicians can't actually get one of their patients to see someone if they're having a mental health issue. So when you just look at some of those numbers, you recognize that's why this conference, all of us being here, is so important today, because we all have to be a part of the solution.
Yep.
And what you recognize is that one group can't do it alone, and that's why I was excited to talk to everyone here today.
When you say the word solution, I instantly think of, technology. We were talking about your two girls, and TikTok, and even I, in my downtime, when I just want to stay quiet with myself, sometimes I'm guilty. I'll jump on my phone. I was listening to this podcast driving into Las Vegas the other day talking about energy leakage. We're all energy, and even when you're scrolling whatever social media, that is you giving away some of your own energy. And I'm just curious, when we think of technology, Jay, and we're all like this and like this, how can technology actually be part of the solution?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was asked something similar by Trevor Noah earlier this year when I was on The Daily Show, and I'm remembering what we talked about. But I want to get a quick show of hands. How many of you feel like you spent too much time on your phone?
Yes.
Be honest.
Guilty.
Me too. Yeah, guilty too. How many of you feel like you have really good phone habits? Thank you for the honesty. And how
it's
many
an honest audience.
Yeah, I know. How many of you don't put up your hands no matter what I say? Because I did not see everyone's hands go up. It's really interesting, and for me, what I find is that if I could say to everyone, from this day, promise me that none of us will ever look at our phones ever again for the rest of our lives, then we don't need technology and apps, and then we can practice mindfulness the ancient way and the old way.
Okay, we can't make you that promise.
No one's going to be able to live up to that promise. Studies show that we look at our phones 262 times per day. That's once every 5.5 minutes. And
wow.
You know it. You pick it out and you look at it and you don't even know why you looked at it. You just picked it up. And so what I find is that our phone is often the cause of our stress.
Yeah.
You get an email that you weren't expecting. You get a text message with some information that you didn't really want to read. Maybe you're scrolling on social media and you see something that triggers you.
Yep.
What if the solution was right next to it on another app? What if it was meeting people where they are? Our attention is on our phone. Our focus is on our phone. What if your phone could be your coach, your guide? And that's really what we're trying at Calm. It's like the alternative, the solution, is right next to the problem. It's right next to that app that's causing you stress and pain. What if you could turn to something else that could give you that moment of relieving stress or reducing anxiety? So I think the solution has to be where the problem is, and we can't expect people to move away from these habits that have been built up over time. We need to transfer the habit, not expect someone to completely change their habit.
So to pick up what you're throwing down, Jay, the fact is you have a Calm app. And happy birthday, Calm turned 10 last month.
Thank you.
And having been out as a journalist and talked to so many people through the years, and I wrote a book last year all about the collective power of women. It's called Huddle. I'll be signing books over there at 11 a.m. Come find me. But my point is, in conversations with so many people, we are all craving, especially coming out of COVID, we're creating connection and community.
That's right.
How has the Calm app, to that extent, evolved over the years?
Yeah, no, we're really excited that Calm has turned 10 years old. It's a great thing for the company and all of our members. But the product has really evolved over the last 10 years. In the beginning, it was people came to us for meditation. And then people started to come to us for sleep. And then during COVID, we saw a spike in people who were coming to us for depression and loneliness. And now as the workforce starts to go back to work, we see a high increase in folks that are saying, help us with stress and anxiety.
Yes.
Because now we have to go back to work. And we were able to just recently launch a Calm for Work product, a B2B product, Calm for Business. We have over 3,000 employers that have quickly signed up to the program, and we've been very humbled by that. And really under the premise of trying to make your employees healthier, happier, and more productive in the workforce.
Yes.
And it's been something where we feel we're just getting started.
I'm so glad you brought up Calm Business, because let me just read everyone with the Surgeon General. The US Surgeon General recently released this framework for mental health in the workplace, where it recognizes, quote, a healthy workforce is the foundation for thriving organizations and healthier communities. Makes total sense, right? So Jay, what role do employers have in mental health?
Well, I think picking up from what David just said, which really resonates with me, is that I feel like workplaces are adopting a problem that schools didn't solve. So we never went to a class on emotional regulation at school. You never went to a class that taught you what to do with stress and anxiety. And it's strange because we deal more with stress and anxiety than we deal with anything else. And workplaces are adopting that challenge. And we spend over half of our waking hours as adults at work. And so that has a big impact on how we feel. And I was working with a CEO recently, and they were going through a few challenges, and we'd worked through a lot of them together. And I encouraged them at their next offsite to share those challenges with their C-suite. I said, I think it would be healthy if you were able to open up to them.
To say it out loud.
To say it out loud and to share it with your peers.
Yeah.
And they said to me, Jay, how can I do that? I'm the strong one. They see me as the strong one. They see me as the one who's tough. And I said to them, what's stronger than confronting the truth?
Yes.
Like, what's more brave, what's more strong than you actually opening up and sharing with people what you've been through? Give it a go. And so at their next offsite, they did that. They sat down with their team, just their direct team. They shared what they were going through. And the response from everyone else was us too. And I find that in a workplace, the more we create a culture of openness, where people don't feel alone, they don't feel judged, they don't feel weaker for what they're feeling and going through, because we're all feeling and going through it. No one's immune to it. I think that's what workplaces need to do, is start that conversation, but then provide the tools, the habit change, the transformation, a culture of growth and progression inside.
We want to know that we're not alone. Absolutely. We're not alone feeling these things, and kudos to the CEO for saying that out loud. You've been in healthcare for decades. Why did you launch this?
Decade.
Decade.
Working for decades, but a decade. No, Calm Health for us was a really exciting new initiative. And what we found was, as part of our tenure, we recognized that over 400 million people have either downloaded the product or have come to our websites.
10 million?
400 million.
400 million people.
400 million people have either come to the website or downloaded the product.
Wow.
And then now on the heels of launching Calm for Business, we found that over 3,000 employers and growing are now coming to us and saying, we need help with our workforce employees. And so we felt that was just a natural progression to start work with payers, providers, and self-insured institutions, and at risk. And so we wanted to take what we've done in Calm in terms of a trusted brand, engagement, helping with folks like with Jay with behavioral change, and really try to bring that to healthcare, because there are so many different solutions that are out there today. There are so many point solutions that are out there today. It's really, really overwhelming. And so how do you discern? And so this is where I feel like companies like ours and others can come together and help to lead the way in this really important discussion. And as you all know, if you were at HLTH a few years ago, the conversations around mental health were just getting started. It's not as approachable as it is today. And what makes us very hopeful for the future is that the fact that we're having these conversations here with you, with Jay, with all of you here to say, how can we change that narrative going forward?
Yes. Well, we actually have a little something we want to share with you all. This is just a little preview of Calm Health. Let's go to the videotape.
Our bodies and minds are intertwined. The health of one affects the other through every stage of life. Now there's a way to bridge the gap between mental and physical health care for more complete health. Introducing Calm Health, a digital care program that supports individualized, condition-centered, evidence-based mental and physical health care. Calm Health connects users to their caregivers and empowers the healthcare system with simple, HIPAA-compliant integrations, all from the #1 most trusted app for meditation, sleep, and mindfulness content. Calm Health, connecting the mind and body.
So good. So final two questions, David and then Jay. It feels like we talk about whole health, patient-centric approach. Why is what we just saw so important to you?
Yeah, we all here want to build things around patient-centric care. And I think for us at Calm today, we've been so lucky and privileged and honored that so many people have turned to us as a brand and said they want us to help them or be a part of their mental health journey. And the fact of the matter is, your mental health is a journey throughout your lifetime. Jay will tell you that, and if you listen to him as part of Calm or his podcasts that over 50 million people listen to today. And what I would just tell you is, for us, the way we have thought about things in terms of how this will continue to evolve is that we need to bring more of that ecosystem together, because it is very fragmented on what we were saying earlier, and it's going to continue to get more fragmented. Earlier, I mentioned that there is a mental health shortage that's happening all over the US. And the US Prevention Task Force just came out and said they want to do anxiety screenings for everyone that's under 65 all the way to 8 years old. Well, that is amazing. But the fact of the matter is, where are all these people going to go when they start raising their hands, when we can't support the people today that are raising their hands?
Yeah.
This is where technology is going to have to play a big part of the solution. This is where all of us here are going to have to play a part of that solution. We can be a part of that solution going forward. This is our step. And we're excited to launch this product in Q1 with some partners that we're going to announce shortly. And hopefully that we'll be able to work together going forward.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And finally to you, sir. Close us out. Big final thoughts from you, Jay Shetty.
Well, I love what David's saying about working together. Every time I'm with David, he's always talking about how this is a collective effort, how it's not just about one company or one team. And I really do think that that's why this is so special and this is so beautiful. And it's wonderful to see a packed house here in the morning. I recently had a conversation with the Surgeon General, and he was talking about how mental health is a national priority. And I felt that was very encouraging because a couple of months ago, I went on the streets of New York and I stood outside with just a piece of card on which I'd written a statistic. And the statistic said that 1 in 4 people you know is struggling with their mental health. If you want to talk, I'm here for you. And I just stood on the streets of New York, Washington Square Park, Union Square. I was out there for about 8 hours that day. I must have spoken to hundreds of people who just came up to me and spoke to me. Some of them were aware of my work, some of them were not. But so many of them said that they just needed someone to talk to. We gave them all a Calm subscription as well to take away. But what was really special was just how many people were willing to be open, how many people were really willing to work on themselves, how many people were looking for solutions.
Yes.
And so I feel like I'm trying to be out there on the streets at the grassroots level, really trying to make mental health a mainstream conversation, using media and entertainment and podcasting and all of these resources to help each and every person reach out for this. But I feel that the brains and the superpowers that are in this room are the people that can bring those tools and make them systems, that can make them scalable, that can make them accessible and affordable and achievable. And so I think that this collaboration, as David's been referring to, is really where we win. And when we win, not only do the companies win, but families win, and your children win, and future generations win. And I think that's what I really care about. And what we care about is I want to make sure that the world's a happier, healthier, and more healed place for the future generations. And I think together, we can achieve that.
We've got 90 seconds left on the clock. I'm going to squeeze every ounce out of this conversation as possible. Let me just, one final question for you, Jay, because we opened the whole thing talking about mindfulness practice and of course the help of the Calm app, but energy and breath. Did you set your intention this morning? And if so, what was it?
My intention this morning was to share good energy with everyone I meet. I always feel that if we can start our day with a thought that adds inspiration into the world, adds positive energy into the world, then someone's going to need it. There's someone today who's having a more difficult day than I am.
Yeah.
And if a smile or a thank you or a hug or a warm glance can help someone's day, then I think that that's a very accessible intention and achievable intention.
Chief Purpose Officer Jay Shetty, David Coe, CEO of Calm. Let's give them a round of applause, gentlemen.
Thank you so much,
Brooke. Thank you,
Brooke. Appreciate you. Thank you all of you.